Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Karan.
Hey, Rishabh.
Hello, Vidya ma'am.
Okay. Rishabh, if you don't mind just switching off the screen share and the annotations once that begins, so we can just take a few minutes.
Yeah, sure. I just stop the screen share right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, super. All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining in today. There are about 190 and still climbing. So thank you for spending a bit of your Sunday with us. All right. So, why are we here? Right. I've said this many times. I'd like to reiterate why we're here. And we're here to learn, correct? We're here to learn about something new, something interesting, or something that we are passionate about. And that is the essence of Enlightened Sapiens. We are a community that encourages you to grow, but grow and learn about the things that you love and things that make you happy, so that when you're ready, you can give back with this knowledge, making it easier for someone else to do the same, creating a self-sustaining society. And today we have some amazing people who wish to share their knowledge on birding. First off, we have Vidya Kulkarni ji, who many of you know because she helped us with the last session on birding from home. But other than that, Vidya ji is the perfect example that age should never be the barrier to pursue your passion. So she started photography in her golden age, and particularly birding. And in a short few years, she went from amateur birder to one of the go-to authorities in birding. She's won numerous awards and felicitations from bodies like National Geographic FB, Wild Bird Trust, uh, World Photographer of the World, Camarinas, and many more, honestly. And she's graced us with her presence to help us yet again today. So, hello, Vidyaji. And to accompany her, she has her good friend, Shobha Kanekji, who has been her close friend for 50 years. And she's an engineer by profession, but got into birding because of Vidyaji. She started going for these photo walks, like how many of us must have started. And that piqued her interest. And she went to Uttarakhand with Vidyaji, and she sort of fell in love with birds. And in fact, she fell in love so much that she started writing articles on birds. So she and Vidyaji co-write articles and magazines on birds. And of course, to assist them and help them is my good friend Rishabh, who you all just saw some time ago today. Hey, Rishabh. So Rishabh is from the creative field of advertising, but a fellow birder, photographer, and wildlife enthusiast. He loves conservation of birds and a lot of everything to do with wildlife. So welcome all of you, and thank you all for being here today. So yes, so today we have a very special session on migratory birds. So on the last session, if many of you may have attended, we asked your feedback, and a lot of you mentioned that you all wanted to learn on migratory birds. And it's although it's a really interesting topic, it's a very tough topic to cover within 1 hour. So Vidyaji and Shobha ma'am have spent the last 1 month accumulating this vast information, which is honestly scientists are still baffled and amazed by the fact how birds migrate and the techniques they use. So they migrate for many reasons, for food and for breeding, but the tools that they use are still being researched on. Vidyaji and Shobha ma'am are going to take us through the wonder of these migratory birds. We're going to try to compress it in 1 hour and show you the beauty of these birds. So without further ado, I'd like to begin. And it's a very interactive session. You all know this about us. We do all our sessions are interactive. Keep the chat box clean. You can use your questions for the chat box. If the community members have answers, please do answer them. If you all are an authority on birding, please help out and answer. But use the raise hand button. It's next to your name on the participants box so that you can interact with Vidyaji, Shobhaji, and Rishabh. And so, yes, let's begin, Shobhaji.
Oh, thank you, Karan, and good evening to all. Hope you enjoyed this session. Whenever I think of birds, I feel it is the best creation of the God. They have beautiful colors, shape, and each bird has its unique style. Their ability of migration across the various parts of the world is truly amazing. If we were to attempt such a journey, we will require a number of gadgets. But these birds reach their destination precisely. The God has given these flying marvels the wisdom and the ability to stay on their flyways perfectly. So now let us understand migration. So if I go as per the definition, uh, can we go? If we go as per the definition, the periodic movement of the birds from one place to another and back to their original homes is called migration. And why do they do migration? Basically in search of food, nesting location, and of course avoid harsh weather. So let us go further and see what are the different types of migrations.
Sorry to cut you, Shobhaji. Rishabh, if you can just turn off annotation. Guys, this is a learning session. Let's not defile it by writing. The people have taken a lot of time to spend over here today. We have only 1 hour. Rishabh, it's in the option of more disabled participants annotation. You'll have to do that since you're sharing the screen.
Got it.
Clear it all. Clear everything and disable participants.
Just a second. Sorry for this. Everyone. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
guys,
you, Rishabh.
come on, we are here to you learn. Please respect the platform. Thank you. Thank you, Shobha.
Thank you. So, to understanding of different types of migration, latitudinal, that is movement from north to south and vice versa. For example, cuckoo breeds in India and spends summers at Southeast Africa, traveling a distance of almost about 7,250 kilometers. Longitudinal, that is a movement from east to west and vice versa. Starlings, resident of East Europe and West Asia, migrate towards the Atlantic coast. Altitudinal mainly occurs in mountainous region where the birds during the winter migrate to the lower levels. For example, golden plover starts from Arctic tundra and goes up to the plains of Argentina. Partial, as the name suggests, all the family members do not migrate, only part of it. Maybe the young ones are not, still not ready for the journey. Total, that is all the member migrate. Migrant or irregular, this is based on safety and food. So generally these will be short migration, but it could be long also. And examples are star and ibis. Seasonal migration, migrate at different seasons for food or breeding. For example, swifts and swallows migrate from south to north during summer and are called summer visitors, while the snow bunting and grey plover migrate from north to south during winter, so are called the winter visitors. Diurnal migration is basically migrating during the daytime. Generally, the birds of prey you will find they will migrate during the daytime. Nocturnal migration, nighttime travel. For example, warblers. Generally, the small birds travel during night as darkness of night provides protection from predators. Molt migration, moving from breeding grounds to a molting area to replace their flight feeders at low predation risk. Generally, ducks and geese go for molt migration. Example, northern pintail. Birds migration is really a very vast subject. So let us understand how do they really move about. Scientists are engaged into understanding the phenomena of migration, and with lot of study and observations, they have come up with 8 major flyways which are being shown in the slide. Of course, these global flyways are considerable oversimplification of the complex journeys actually the migratory bird take in reality. Now, if you see the leftmost first 3 flyways, they are covering the Americas region. They are namely Pacific, Central and Atlantic. This connects between high Arctic to the southernmost tip of the South America. If you move further to the right, there are 3 Palearctic African flyways, namely East Atlantic, Mediterranean Black Sea and East Asia, East Africa. You won't believe, but every year over 2 billion birds migrate from their breeding grounds in Europe, Central and Western Asia to winter in tropical Africa. It's really amazing. Further, what you see is the Central Asian flyway, which is shown in orange. It is the shortest flyway, lying entirely in northern hemisphere, It connects the Palearctic region with the Indian subcontinent. Though it is the shortest, it has difficult section to pass, that is Tibetan Plateau and Himalayas. And the last one, it is the East Asia Australia flyway, extend from Arctic Russia and North America to New Zealand, and is used by over 15 billion migratory waterbirds. Actually, at this stage, I would like to mention that all this information, what we are stating today in the session, this we have been exploring over last 2.5 years over the net, referring various books and understanding and studying. So myself and Vidya, we are engaged over last 2 to 3 years to do that. I think having understood what is the migration, why they do it, what are the paths they use, but let us understand how do they really manage to start from one place and reach to the destination. So do they really have their GPS? Because I think many people will wonder how really these tiny birds, some of them are so tiny, some of them are so big, they travel so long. Actually, the birds have knowledge of landscape in terms of valleys, rivers, mountains, and they can sense the location through the smell. They also take help of sun's position during the day and constellation of the stars during the night. Another, their great ability is see the UV rays, which helps them to penetrate the clouds, and they are able to see through the clouds. Some of the birds are equipped with their sensory system. There are small concentration of iron in their inner ear. There could be complex chemical reaction between the eyes and brain along the magnetic nostrils, help them in identifying the north direction. But I can only say we are still fully not aware about how the birds manage navigation. As you know, the constellations of stars also change their position. So I really wonder, it looks like they do have some additional things with which they really track all the changes. Now I hand over the session to my friend Vidya, hardcore birder. She will make you understand some of the fascinating migratory birds by sharing the images and the salient point about the birds and their migration. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shobhaji. So before I hand it over to Vidyaji, I'd like to just quickly say one thing. So what you're about to see with the images clicked are all clicked by Vidyaji herself. That means, she's traveled all over the country. All of them are taken within India. So all these beautiful birds that you're about to see are not from some foreign land. They have visited India during their migration, and Vidyaji has taken these images. What she's also done if you all attended the previous session, she's taken the effort to start each slide with a quick bird call. That is the sound of the bird that this bird makes. And then she's going to explain the beautiful migratory patterns and facts about these birds. So yes, over to you, Vidyaji. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Karan. And good evening to all. Let's go our journey. Let's go further. Do you see this bird? How tiny it is? It's just 16-17 centimeter, and the wingspan is almost 40 centimeters. This is really a wonder. I always give number 1 in the list of these migratory birds. See, these birds are from Europe, Western Asia, Central Asia, and they migrate to Central Southern Africa for wintering. In India also, they are sighted in Northwest regions. Their longest migration journey, just listen to me, it is 22,000 kilometers, and they can remain in the sky continuously for 6 months. Can you see? It's the longest record. They also hold a record of journey of 8,000 kilometers in just 5 days. I would say these birds are nature's greatest aeronauts. They have superbly adapted for a life largely spent only in the skies. But these birds haven't yet learned to play their sports with fear. They are fearless birds, such tiny birds, and they travel so much. Let's go further. Okay, these are demoiselle cranes. You know what is the meaning of demoiselle? It is like a slender and graceful and maiden-like appearance has given this name to these birds. They are found in Central Europe, Siberia, ranging from Black Sea to Mongolia and northeastern China. During the months of August, September, large number of these birds come together and prepare for their flight to their winter range. They fly at a height of 4,900 to 7,900 meters to cross Himalayan mountain to reach their wintering grounds in India. In Kichen, a village in Rajasthan, villagers feed these cranes on their migration route, and which has become like an annual event. Thousands of photographers and villagers around gather there just to get the glimpses of these birds. In the month of March and April, of course, they begin their long spring journey back to their northern nesting grounds. Let's go further. Blue throat, such a tiny bird. I have clicked this image in one suburb of Mumbai. It's called as Dombivli. Now these birds, they are found in otherwise Europe and across Palearctic region with a foothold in Western Alaska, and they breed in wet birchwood or bushy swamps. They winter across Southern Asia, Northern and Central Asia, and Southern Europe. In Asia, winter destinations are from Arabia, Southwest Asia, India, Southeast Asia, and Eastern China. These birds have the ability to change their breeding and wintering areas by tracking variations in the environmental conditions. There are lots of questions which I have received based on this, how they track their changes in the environment, but they are intelligent enough to track it, to smell it beforehand, and then they change this thing accordingly. Let's go further. Black-winged stilt, such a graceful bird. You can find plenty of these birds around in Mumbai in all the seasons, because the summer, the warmer region birds, normally they are just vagrants, means just a small distance they travel. The main population of these birds is but found in Europe, Central Asia, parts of North America. They migrate southwards to wintering grounds between August and November, and they return to the breeding grounds in March and April. So if you see, every bird has a different pattern of migration. Some birds migrate for breeding, some birds migrate post-breeding. So now let's go for the blue-tailed beater. Again, a tiny and very sweet bird. They are winter visitors to South India. Blue-tailed beater, they are found in central, north and northeast India, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, China, North Myanmar, North Thailand, North Laos, North Vietnam are migrants. They breed in summer months. During winter, they migrate to South India, Sri Lanka, Andaman Nicobar Islands, Malay Peninsula, Indonesia, and East Philippines. You must be wondering, why am I taking all the names of all the countries where they come from and where they visit? Because I would like to impress upon the flyways which you have seen in the earlier slide. There are so many flyways. So these are used by various birds, these flyways. And you know how this is tracked finally, even the flyways? There are always some transmitters attached to this, some of the birds which are under studies, and then they are tracked and then the information is arrived. So scientists have been engaged in this migratory pattern study for last so many years, and it is still not over. Far-headed goose. You know something, I have clicked this bird in Bharatpur. The moment I stepped into Bharatpur, I started hearing only about the migration, because this bird is a wonder bird. Now you will understand why I'm saying this. Just see this. See, these birds, they breed in Central Asia, in the north of the Himalayas, and during winter, they migrate to India. The astonishing fact about these birds is that they cross over the Himalayas using just less than 10% of the oxygen level. They don't carry any oxygen cylinder, reaching altitudes of up to 7,000 meters, and there is no help of tailwinds also. They can even fly over the Himalayas at depth zone of 9,000 meters. Okay, how they travel? They lower their body temperature of their blood and the metabolism. And that's how they get the energy to fly. They maximize their energy by hugging the mountain grounds and flying in the nighttime. They fly in the V formation. So when the lead bird gets tired, it will fall back. The next goose will take the lead. So in turn, each individual flies with a reduced drag and save the energy. And they use vocal communications, visual cues to communicate between each other and to maintain the distance between the two birds. See how intelligent these birds are. So these are really wonder birds. Rosy starling, such a beautiful bird. That pinkish like a flower, this color is really fascinating. These birds are also highly gregarious in nature. You will understand why they have to be gregarious. See the number of the flock, which I have actually clicked it in a big one. Its big one is in Maharashtra and it's called as a Bharatpur of Uttar Pradesh. Okay. They are strong migratory birds. Every year, millions of these birds fly from East Europe and Central Asia to India during their winter season. In India, where all these birds are seen, Chhattisgarh, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Vijayawada, Maharashtra. So many states. So it is really showering its love to India. Okay. Now, these birds, what are you seeing? This is the lakhs and lakhs of birds forming the murmuration. Murmuration is like such a big number, but they always fly in a pattern. Okay. Now actually, I was very fortunate to witness this phenomena. In Big One, you can see this phenomena in just a period of maybe 15 days, and I happened to go there. Okay. You know what I had seen there? One crow was trapped in the group and was struggling to come out, but could not really. This can range from a few hundreds in a small ball to undulating seas of millions of birds that can even block even the sight of the sun. Scientists believe that grouping together offers them, of course, a safety from predators, and as it is very hard to target individual bird in a group like this. It's called as a hypnotizing flock of thousands of birds. And they gather to keep warm at night. They exchange information about what? About the feeding and nesting grounds. See how they help each other. That's why these birds are called as highly gregarious birds. Now, snow white bird. Great white pelican, they are found in Ethiopia, Tanzania, Cameroon, Nigeria, Africa, Zambia, Botswana, South Africa, etc. During winter, they migrate to North India. When I had clicked this bird in Bharatpur, and they had migrated that time after a gap of 3 to 4 years. So the moment we got the information, we all photographers rushed to Bharatpur. Okay. Now, they are gifted. You know something now, this is a huge bird. Earlier, we have seen a very small bird. This is a very huge bird. You know something about what's the special gift these birds are given? They are gifted with fibrous layer deep in the breast muscle to hold the wings rigidly horizontal for gliding and soaring. See, they use these thermals for soaring to the height of 3,000 meters or more, and combined with gliding and flapping flight in again a V formation. They are not capable of sustained flapping flight since it's a heavy bird and such a long wingspan, but they can still manage to remain in the air for 24 hours, covering hundreds of kilometers. Isn't it really amazing? Let's go further. This is black-tailed godwit. The black-tailed godwit is a large wadder, as you see. The godwits breed from Iceland all the way through Europe and Siberia to parts of Central Asia. And they also migrate in flocks and have diverse patterns spanning the Indian subcontinent, Australia, West Africa, and parts of Western Europe. They spend winter in the wetlands of the Indian subcontinent. Actually, I have clicked this image in Palm Beach Road. There is a place over there, marshy land, and there you can get the glimpses of this bird, really, and they are beautiful. Let's go further now.
So hi everyone. That's a good chunk of visitors and guests we have year on year to our country visiting. At this point of time, you might have some questions, and we can take it up at the end of the session if you all don't mind, and we can get to the next set of birds that Vidya ma'am would like to take us through. So just keep them ready, have them noted down, and we'll definitely answer them.
Rishabh, let's take a couple questions, quick questions right now, and
Sure.
then we'll move on. Just a couple quick, okay, because a lot of people have raised their hands. So let's, any quick questions. Abhipsha Patel, you can unmute yourself if you have a question for us. You can quickly ask your question. Abhipsha? Sujita? You all can unmute yourself because you'll have all Shreya Sinha. You all will have to press the unmute button. Yes. Yeah, Shreya, go ahead. Shreya? Okay, Tasneem, we're not able to hear you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Tasneem. Yes.
Ma'am, I had a question that what is the relevance of the V formation which is formed by many birds during migration? What is the relevance of that?
Yeah, sure. I had just actually explained you on this really, the earlier slides and on that 1 or 2 slides really. Normally they always have a V formation, because the first bird is like a lead bird and it leads the way, okay? When that gets, there is these birds have so much discipline and we have to learn so much from these birds really. Then the first bird, when that gets tired, it will fall back. Then there are again birds. From there, again, in the V shape, they will go the first, again, one bird will take the lead. So they have a discipline, they have a pattern, and basically what happens that only one bird doesn't get so tired then. See, the first bird in the row always has to face the maximum of the harsh weather. The other birds, they get protected because they are in the crowd. So the temperatures anyway get warmer for them. They really, literally, they are very close by. See, in a room, you switch on the AC, okay? Only one person. He will start maybe shivering. There are 10 persons, what happens? The effect is less. So the same is the cause for that V formation. And it looks also beautiful, really. Next.
Ramya, we can just take one quick question. Rishabh, I know you have a thing you want to complete. Ramya, if you want to. Ramya, you can unmute yourself, or Shivani.
Yeah, if Ramya wants to go, then she
No,
can.
no, go ahead, go ahead. Let's quickly take these questions.
Yeah.
Shivani, please go
So
ahead.
I just wanted to ask, since you said that when one bird gets tired, it moves backwards to the end of the flock. So I just wanted to ask, what are the ways that each bird can keep track of the rest of its flock? Like, is there a sort of, other than communicating verbally, which you already mentioned? Yeah.
I had said visual cues also.
Oh, yeah.
They
Okay.
communicate, of course. They have visual cues. You know, their vision is almost 10 times higher than the sharpest vision of the human being.
Oh, okay.
You know, they are gifted with all this. How otherwise they will travel thousands of kilometers? So they
Yeah.
have all those sharp sensory powers. See, God has given birth to so many species of birds, really, anyway. Then, actually, God has given them the knowledge of survival. So that's how for ages, these birds, these migratory patterns are continued, really. It's really amazing. You know, when we are also studying it now, we also, you know, wow, we always keep feeling that, really.
Right.
Thank you for all the questions and all the interest. Let's go further now, Rishabh.
Yes, yes.
Yes, Vidya ma'am. Okay. So yeah, just
Rough. This bird is called as a rough. You know, where I have clicked. I have one young friend like you people, and I had gone to Bangladesh too, and there I saw this bird. Of course, these birds are available in Mumbai or India, but I had clicked this in Bangladesh. Okay, they roughs breed in the river meadows and the coastal marshes from northern Europe to Siberia. They winter on broad mud flats from North Sea to southern Africa and parts of southern Asia and North America. Ruff's migratory birds, they come to India from colder parts of Europe and Asia to spend its winter. That is very common in many birds, really. But they are changing, you know something, there are questions how they sense it and they change their pattern. See, they are changing their migratory routes when flying from north to their breeding grounds in northern Europe and to Asia from Africa. This is because there is a reduced food supply because of the extensive agriculture in the Netherlands. So this marshy land, this thing, they need marshes for really getting their feed. So you know something, whatever development the world is going through, it does affect the birds, but they still know how to survive. There you go. Oh, such a beautiful. This is called as a harrier, marsh harrier. Okay, such a graceful and it's a raptor bird. The harriers, they migrate from Central Asia and Russia to winter in India. They are known to show their fidelity to the areas they roost, and hence year after year you will find these birds at the same place, at the same locations. Migration routes are literally hardwired into harriers, as juveniles travel along with their parents and the knowledge is passed on from generations to generations. They travel between around 3,500 kilometers to 5,000 kilometers during their migration journey. In India, there are lots of favorite sites of these birds. Velavda National Park in Gujarat, you can note it down also. Alwal and Wadala in Telangana, Nanaj in Maharashtra, Rolapandu in Andhra Pradesh, and Hisargatha in Karnataka. So there is enough of visibility of these harrier birds in India, as you see. Northern pintail. Why the bird is called as a pintail? Because the tail is like in the shape of a pin. The northern pintails, they breed in northern areas of Europe and across the Palearctic and North America in the colder season. They migrate during winter to Western and Southern Europe, across Africa, south of the Sahara, Southwest Asia, India, Southern China, and Japan. See the countries they come from and where exactly really they go. They fly at the altitude of 1,460 meters and the speed is around 70 kilometers. The autumn migration seems to start in August and the return migration starts in March. The unique feature of these birds is that they interchange flyways every year. And molt migration also is common. See, once they shed their feathers, they cannot fly. So they have to go to the place where there is a low risk of predation. That's how that's called as a molt migration. I think Shobha madam had explained this before. Let's go further now. Such a beautiful bird, I'll tell you. Rudi shell ducks, they breed in Europe, Central Asia, Jammu Kashmir, north of Himalaya mountain ranges. And they are mainly, these are nocturnal birds. Means they travel only during the night. They migrate across high altitude mountain ranges and faced with the challenge of limited oxygen. Their winter grounds are south of the Tibetan Plateau at sea level. They prefer lowland streams, sluggish rivers, ponds, flooded grasslands, marshes, and brackish lagoons as their habitat. See, these birds cannot literally swim in the this thing. So they are never in the deep water. They are always in the shallow water. Let's go further now. No, northern showler. Actually, this is also like a duck, but this is the, it's called as the most beautiful duck. Okay, they are found in northern parts of Europe, Asia, North America, where they breed, and in winter they migrate to southern Europe, Africa, the Indian subcontinent, Southeast Asia, Central and South America. They also migrate in large numbers during the winter in the wetlands of northern India. To reach India, they have to cross the Himalayas. But here, they take a pause. They stop there and then they travel further. The autumn migration starts early and many birds start moving west in the August. And the concentrations are found in the Atlantic coast between September and November. So you must be wondering how the flyways are decided. So there are various factors. These flyways have been decided by the scientists. Let's go further. Such a graceful bird. And there are lots of specialities of this bird. The name peregrine means wanderer. The peregrine falcon are widespread residents and again a winter visitors in India. They are found among high mountains, hills, stony semi-deserts, ocean coast and open wetlands near cliffs. They are the world's fastest birds, reach speed of 380 kilometers per hour when they dive to catch their prey. They have one of the longest migration. Please listen to me, 25,000 kilometers in a year. Year after year, they travel so much. And while migrating, because from where they migrate, from tundra nesting to South America during winter. You have seen the southern, that American flyway. They use that flyway for that. But as I say, there are some species in the falcons which are migratory and which are really, they say, non-migratory. See, the British Isle peregrines, they do not migrate. That's why in India also we can see these birds all over 12 months. Some of the migratory Scandinavian birds, they winter in Britain year after year to the same location. So maybe they find that location, that habitat as most suitable to them. Let's go further. Such a beautiful bird. I think every Mumbaiker knows about this bird because it's so much talked about these birds. And I'll tell you, I have thousands of images of this bird because I am also in love with this bird. See, this is a greater flamingo. Greater flamingos are found in Africa, South Asia, Middle East, Spain, Albania, Northern Macedonia, Greece, Portugal, Italy, France, and Southern Europe. Thousands of flamingos migrate to Mumbai every year. Between the months of October and March, and migrate back around June. They arrive from Rann of Kutch in India, in Gujarat, and Sambar Lake in Rajasthan, but some even come from Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, and Israel. Okay, they migrate mainly at night. They prefer to fly with cloudless sky and favorable tailwinds. They need the push of tailwinds and from behind. The tailwind is like a sort of a flow of air from the backside of the bird. Now they can travel approximately 600 kilometers in one night at a speed of 50 to 60 kilometers. So they can also be in the sky for almost 10 to 12 hours continuously. And during the day, they fly at a high altitude because there is a risk of predation by eagles. So this is what is maybe 1% of bird collection, bird images which I have. Maybe some other colorful birds we'll take in the next session. Let's go further now.
So yeah, hi guys, hi everyone. Thank you, Vidya ma'am. And as Vidya ma'am said, that it's just a drop in the ocean, what she's presented. It is estimated that India hosts about 100 plus species of birds which migrate to our Indian subcontinent year on year, and be it in summers or winters, and probably in search of food or escaping from the harsh winters out there. And yeah, these are just a handful of them what she has taken us through. And since this whole pattern of migration takes place year on year, even our country has literally built wildlife sanctuaries for them to stop over, to feed on, and make them as a temporary feeding and resting ground. And here are a few spots you can probably make a note of if you're living in Bombay. Or in Maharashtra, Bhandup Pumping Station in Bombay, Maharashtra Nature Park, TS Chanakya, Palm Beach Road, they host number of flamingos, and recently it's estimated that the numbers are also going really high. If you're living up north in Delhi, Bharatpur is a place that's a heaven for birders that again host most of these species there. Little Rann of Kutch. So to Ganesh Guri. So this is a snippet of these places which you can probably plan a visit in the near future whenever things open up and get better for us.
Rishabh,
Yeah.
Goa also is a very ideal destination for lots of birds, and Thattekad in Kerala, yeah.
Yeah, so thanks for pointing it out. So I just want to request, probably pull out your phone and take a quick picture of this and keep a note of it. Yeah, and we were overwhelmed with a number of responses with the pictures of birds you have cited with your experiences, and we're just going to show a few of them here. And it will be amazing to hear from you. Where was this taken and how did you manage to take it, and a little bit you experienced here. So we're also going to show a bunch of these images out here. So these are some images. We have put their name and ID and who spotted them. So if you're here, you're more than happy to unmute yourself and probably talk a little with Vidya ma'am. And if you want to know something, we can probably answer them here. So Don Joes, that Brahmini kite up there with a vibrant blue sky. It's a beautiful flight shot you captured there. If you are here, would love to hear where did you cite this one.
Yes, we got an overwhelming response from all of you, which sent us images. We're sorry we could not include all. We tried to include as many as we could. So if you sent us your images, raise your hand and we can quickly just go through and comment on your pictures. So yes, Mohsina, Adi Mustafa, Prasad Pandey, all of you guys who sent us images, just raise your hand and we can get to your images. Okay, we have Swati. I think she's in the next slide. You can.
Okay. So yeah, we'll move ahead to the next slide. But if you see, these are some birds. You will get to spot them in and around your city also. They frequently.
Rishabh, I would like to say I want to really congratulate all these people who have really sent their images, and they are beautiful images. I love to see them.
This is another set of images, right from painted stork to a golden oriole. These are birds which are very rare to spot in the city, but well, it's beautiful to sight them. So if you are there, Avinash or Abhishek,
Hi, I'm Sangeeta. I'm there.
Musar. Oh, hi Sangeeta.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is from Chennai.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Yeah.
Ma'am.
Yeah, hearing you.
Yeah, I
The
took this
golden
picture.
oriole
This
by
is
you is
from
from Chennai.
Chennai. I didn't
Okay.
expect that my picture would have come from this great people.
Why not? Why not?
That's
You're a
nice.
great
It's
birder.
standing out so beautifully. Yeah.
That's nice. That's very nice to see among you people. That's great. I feel great. Thank you,
So
ma'am.
Sangeeta, you have any little experience?
It's
Do you
our
see
pleasure,
them
Sangeeta.
often?
Yeah, actually, I saw this. I took this picture by December 2019. So as soon as I shifted the place, you could see a small pond. So I live a
Yes.
place nearby this pond, and so the place is nearly empty. I found this bird regularly for a week.
Sangeeta, you are staying in a nice habitat. Huh?
Yeah, it's a small pond, and you can see like that's a company over there, and nearly 25 to 30 acres. It's completely pond.
Wow,
Mine
wow.
is the last building, so I could see all this
I'm
pictures.
going to visit you, Sangeeta.
Sure, ma'am. Most welcome. Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
yes. So
Yeah, hi,
Sangeeta,
Abhishek here.
hi Abhishek.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Glad to
thank
hear
you
from
so
you.
much for having my click there. I'm a
That's
very
beautiful.
amateur photographer as of now for birds. So this was
Abhishek, we are also amateur photographers.
that's so graceful of you, ma'am. So this was a very dear picture to me because I tracked this woodpecker for almost half an hour through the hills of Nainital. I
Okay.
scraped my knee on the process, but I finally got
Oh.
it half shadow,
Wow.
half lighted. It was
Beautiful.
delighted for the whole day. I was like, my month was made with this picture. So this was just
Okay.
before the lockdown happened, because second week of March somewhere maybe. So I am
Oh.
very thankful that this happened to me.
Very
That's
Abhishek,
nice.
amazing.
I would like to say something, it is like, you are there, you go, you try to catch one bird and finally you get it. You feel as if you have won the war.
Exactly, ma'am.
That's the kind of
That's-
satisfaction we get. So birders will definitely know this.
Yeah.
And when I now, sort of read about this migration and all that, I said, whatever hurdles we are going through is nothing. How much
Yeah.
they are taking, the efforts to
Absolutely.
really migrate and come to India and to give us the glimpses, correct?
That definitely, yes.
So that's a beautiful play of light. I mean, one thing I noticed is in Sangeeta's image is it has a story in itself,
Yes,
and
it has
that's
a
what,
story.
yes, and that's what, if you're if you're a photographer or you are just starting out, you're an amateur somewhere there, it's beautiful to sometimes go wide and, sort of bring in a lot of the environment habitat because it speaks for itself then. I mean, I can see a little bus there. And so it shows how they visit the urban areas and they reside with humans by side, coexist along. While Abhishek, that's amazing play of light. I mean, that's like like a most preferred photographer's choice, to have a little play of shadow and light there, and you captured it very well there. Even painted stocks here, it's a beautiful shot in flight in action, showing and I love the contradicting colors, the orange and the blue. It just makes it stand out. And tailed starlings, they are beautiful to see them in flight. So it's a beautiful shot here, seeing them perched up here. So that's a good one there. We have a couple of more, I think so. Let me just, yeah, there you go. So yeah. Kiara, Atul, Shohan, Sweetie, if you all are there, would love to hear your experience as well. If you have any questions, would love to get it answered. Vidya ma'am is right here with us.
Don't ask me very tough question. Huh?
Absolutely, as Vidya ma'am said, migratory birds, they have been migrating since like thousands of years, since the millennia. It's just recently people have started now researching, mapping their mesmerizing journey, and it is an oasis of research and information out there, that can get you, like boggled. So, but it's beautiful. It starts somewhere, and we have.
We have Mohsina. I think she is unmuted.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Thank you for shortlisting my post. Like, It is from my home gallery actually. So I was just sitting on my balcony. So there was this bird, and she was fighting with a house sparrow actually, above those fibers, like for making the nest and everything. And that was really very cute to see. And finally, Ashi Prinya got his day, and she was able to take all those fibers for the nest making, and it was amazing.
Yes,
And it was
yes.
kind of very thrilling to see that fight. Although I was not able to take a shot of that, but still, it is quite a memory.
Yes, really good.
Yeah, it's cute.
Thank you.
It has a composition, I'll tell you, Bunisha.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am.
It's lovely.
Good
The
composition.
picture has to say some story.
Exactly. Like this is very easy. Like anybody who will be watching is able to identify that there's some story behind that, or maybe.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
So
Very true, very true. Very true.
thank you again for selecting it.
That's great, Mashina. Good to hear from you. So yeah, again, just ma'am spoke at length on the crane. They are beautiful. They are sited in Rajasthan, and if you see them with the landscape of the sand dunes, it is mesmerizing. It's a frame to just picture there, and it's beautiful to get a mix of these shots, close ups, and sometimes if you happen to visit these places, to get wider shots of the habitat to show them where they are and how do they migrate and stop over right there. Also lesser flamingo, sweetie, that's a beautiful picture out there, going low, getting a lot of foreground, and showing them in action. It's a beautiful image right there. So yeah, I mean, we'll probably move ahead. Unfortunately, as Karan said, we couldn't take all the images here, but we will be more than happy if you can keep posting them, tagging us, and we can keep coming back to you. And just the last one set. That's a beautiful shot there, Sarabjit. If you're there, would love to hear your experience. Sumit, Santona, if you're Sanjeev, any one of you. We did go through the bar hierarchy. Ma'am just took us common shell duck again from the family of those ducks, blight starling. Well, ma'am, so if you have anything to say with the greater hornbill.
The one who has really this thing, Sarabji, you are very lucky. It's not easy to get that too in flight. My goodness, I've been trying for so long. You're lucky.
Love the colors, how it's all standing out beautifully.
See, I have lots of hornbill photos, but this greater hornbill is great, literally.
As a birder, I think so. One thing that fascinates about birds is their colors, their behavior, and this is all mix of that, and that's what's fascinating to see and observe and reflect on. So yeah, just opening up for any questions if you all have. We would love to take a few. We just probably 5 minutes, a little to close on or so, but we'll definitely probably take a few and would love to have it answered. So
yes,
do shoot.
Deepak, Ramya, y'all can, Deepak, you can unmute us. Yes, Deepak, go ahead. We could hear you.
Yeah, this is my son Siddharth. He's asking the question.
Okay, sure.
Is an Asian flycatcher a migratory bird?
Asian flycatcher is a migratory bird.
Yeah, we get in our balcony, once or twice. I have very good pictures of that. I forgot to send. I'll send the pictures.
Please
And
do tag
very
us.
close to very close to the tree on my balcony. Beautiful bird. And can you tell more about that?
Oh, I'll be taking more of the sessions, and I'll be really describing every bird in detail. Just keep following me.
Thank you.
Because it's a beautiful bird. It's a mesmerizing bird, I'll say.
I think that's one of the
Asian paradise flycatcher. It's like you are in dream when you see it glancing. Fantastic it is.
With a long tail,
snow white,
like a ribbon flowing. So is it just to ask you, is it a juvenile? Is it a brown color one you see, or a white colored scale body of a flycatcher that visits your place? So
I think that's why it is called in Marathi Swargiya Nartak.
Yeah, we call it as a
dancer in heaven.
Yeah. It's like a dancer in heaven.
We have a question from Edrin.
Snow white tail.
Hello. Hi, ma'am. Actually, I come from Goa, and I am living in a place where we find a lot of migratory birds. And what we had done is that we usually keep some food for them. What my question is that I'm never able to understand where do they live. Like they be here for like 3 to 4 months sometimes, and where do they stay? Like they don't build nest. So where do they stay? Like?
The nesting period normally is like few months in a year. Okay, and to go to their nesting grounds normally is really dangerous to the birds. See, if they sight you then they get disturbed, and then they really at times they will leave their eggs there and they'll fly away. So as far as possible, we never post any nesting photo except Baya Weaver. Baya Weaver is okay, it's a very bold bird, so you can really take that photo. But nesting grounds, it's again like you have to research it. Like you have to keep on. There are birders who really keep walking. They'll be in one jungle for months together to find the pattern of each and every bird. So it's this thing to be explored. Ultimately, this subject is not really very. It's not a confined subject. What I mean to say is like it's as vast as oceans. And if you are really interested, you can just keep following the bird year after year. You will understand yourself. Like,
if you have a picture, if you manage to get a picture, maybe you can show it to us to understand which bird is it and what is the behavior also. So it's all about researching, and that's what ma'am does.
Yes.
Karan, you can give all our addresses so that they can.
Yes.
Posting.
Yes, it's coming up.
Yes. I'll be very happy to answer your questions. I'll tell you really. Please send us. I'm very happy if so many people are
if you
interested in birding.
If you can even take a picture, maybe identify it. Maybe if you Google by the color, and probably put Goa, and you might just get a few images, by luck on Google, and then we can probably look into it and read more about it. So we'll be happy to see these birds there.
Absolutely. We're sorry we can't take all your questions. There's so many questions on the chat and the raised hands. But like we had 1 hour to cover.
We will not disappoint them. Something. No, let them. Yeah, we will definitely answer each and every question. Even on my Facebook, whenever anybody asks me question, I see that I answer that question. Okay?
Absolutely. So we are going to be sharing the details. Yeah. We'll get to the places where you can reach out and email us or tag us, and we'll get to that. So Rishabh will come to that, and we'll answer all your questions. Vidyaji, Shobha ma'am, and Rishabh, all of us will make sure all your questions are answered.
And it's our pleasure to answer your questions.
Yeah, Rishabh.
Yes. Yes. So just sorry for that, but we'll definitely be in touch. Please make a note of these questions. Even we'll try to see how we can keep a note of these questions and get back to you on this. Just moving a little ahead quickly. Yeah. So okay, this is a small video we would love to play. These are pictures taken by ma'am. Beautiful about it is it has a nice clean background, the bird standing out, and in the We haven't put the ID names here, but that's a plover bird. It's a yellow ring plover bird. That's a cormorant. That's a spotted eagle. And yeah, so these are beautiful birds seen in and around Bombay. Mumbai, and even
I'm happy to share, Rishabh.
Yes.
The background music is given by my grandson.
Yes, so
And the video is edited by her grandson, so that's amazing.
there you go. Yeah. Okay. So just to give you a snippet of the kind of gear ma'am uses to for her birding activities, for photography especially.
For me, carrying this gear itself is like a hurdle, really. It's a very heavy gear.
All of this combined would be definitely 8 to 9 kgs, or maybe like maybe like 10 kgs, yeah, or more, not less, definitely. Yeah, so it's a full frame DSLR camera, and anything with a reach of 300, 400 gives beautiful images, especially close-ups. But again, what you'd like to draw here is you don't have to always start with a professional full frame DSLR cameras. It all depends on what kind of picture you want to take. What do you want to show through your picture? Is it more of a habitat shot with the bird? Then 11 mm to 16 mm works really good there. Even there are cameras which start with an amateur beginner level ones. So if you have any questions in terms of which camera do you want to start off with, or you're considering, we'll be more than happy to answer you. You can always come back to us and we can discuss this at length. You can message us on our Instagram handle, email us on Enlightened Sapiens, and we'll be more than happy to assist you and guide you there. But also binoculars are also a must. So if you're not into photography, a good set of binoculars is beautiful to have along with you to sight those birds. So if you want any recommendations there, do let us know and we'll help you out with that. And here are some books which ma'am refers to and are studied in depth, Shobha ma'am and Vidya ma'am. If Karan will also probably just give you a little quick idea.
We are waiting for Vidyaji's book, which she's been working for a long time, and I think she's working to launch an e-version of it. Isn't that correct, Vidyaji?
Yeah. Now it's a lockdown, so
yeah. So
publication.
Yes, it's delayed there.
Yeah.
So if you could just want to take a quick picture, it's beautiful to have these books like Salim Ali. It's an encyclopedia. He's put out there of birds calling. I mean, even if we can share out a PDF to you all, we'll try to do that of either of these books if you all don't have. Karan, we'll see if that's possible. Or else, these books are out there. It's always beautiful to have, and keep one to read more about these birds there. So yeah, just like to thank Vidya ma'am, Shobha ma'am for putting this whole presentation together, taking us to these literally and drop in the ocean, of the migratory birds. They have probably not even, they've seen a lot more, but putting out a few of them here. And Shobha ma'am, Vidya ma'am, if you have any last 2 bits to say about our next session also, if what you're preparing on would love to hear from you.
From my Facebook post, every day I post one bird on the Facebook. What I have observed now, if my bird is colorful and a very close shot, I'll keep getting the, sort of likes and questions, comments and all that. So I just told Karan and Rishabh, why not now have only beautiful, colorful birds? So it's like, to watch them, to see them should be a pleasure. So let's see.
Yes, so we have
everyone's life.
Yes, so we are planning on having that session in the first week of September, basically a month from now, and we'll be having a session on colorful birds. And so watch out. You can always Rishabh will share the next slide, and basically like Rishabh mentioned, you can tag us on Enlightened Sapiens as well as Vidyaji's Instagram handle. Basically, she also is on Facebook as Vidya Kulkarni, and you can reach out to all us. Tag us with your pictures or email us or reply to the feedback form that we'll be sending with your images or your questions, and we'll be more than happy to answer all of it. You can tag us in your posts or your stories, not just right now, throughout, and we'll definitely help you out like we mentioned. And Vidyaji, Shobha ma'am, Rishabh, thank you as always. It was a really wonderful session. And it's amazing how you all try to compress this really complicated topic into such a nice way. And it's a tough subject, you know, and you Vidyaji, as always, you love showing the beauty of these birds, even though it's a tough scientific and difficult topic. So thank you as always. Looking forward to our next session. And yeah,
sure.
and we have a lot of sessions planned. Rishabh will take you to the next slide. And
Yes.
basically, we have sessions every Saturday and Sunday. August is full of sessions. So next weekend we have a session on basically using music and art to bring positivity and positive habits to your life. And that's what we are about in Enlightened Sapiens, is pursuing your passion, pursuing your interests, and positivity all around. And we have campfire stories taken by a Mount Everest summiter. And he climbed not only Mount Everest, Vidyaji, he climbed Mount Everest and Mount Lhotse in 6 days. So to 8,000 meters plus peaks. So that's a virtual campfire we are having, and monsoon gardening and meditation, and very beautiful sessions we are having. So do join us. And of course, like we said, Vidyaji's session is first week of September. So watch out for that as well. So thank you everyone. You can take a screenshot of this. You know where to register. It's through the website. And for those who wanted, y'all have mentioned, I can read the chats. Y'all want to review this session, and because there was so much information, it is on Facebook on a Enlightened Sapiens Facebook page on the video section for a limited time, so that y'all can go back and learn and learn as always. So thank you again, everyone, and hope to see you all very, very soon.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Vidya ma'am. Thank you, Shobha ma'am,
Thank
for
you all.
joining us.
Thank you, Karan, first, and Enlightened
Yes.
Sapiens.
Always pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure. The Vidyaji, today we had more than 400 people, and that's a community is growing.
Participation.
Wow.
And
I'm happy. Birding family is growing. I'm happy.
that's the whole idea. You know, we
That's the whole
want positive impact on the community, and we want to positively impact these beautiful birds. And a lot of you mentioned how these migratory birds are, you know, facing troubles. We wish we can bring these numbers back, and it starts with all of us first understanding birds. So yes, so we are growing as you all can see. We had a great response. So thank you again, and see you all very soon. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Karan. We'll sign out at this moment.
Yes.
And as Karan said, we'll be back soon. Hope you made a note of these next session.
And it's nice to see so many people are interested in birds, so we will take care of environment.
Absolutely.
And ensure the birds are there with us.
Absolutely. Thank you all. All right.
Thank you all. Bye. We'll sign out.